to me, it was part of my history, and it was a connection with the guys that were in those initial squads, and a file would fall out of maybe a player I hadn't heard of much in recent years, and you'd sort of go through it. But I was faced with throwing him away, but the club said, no, bring him down. So I was happy that the club wanted to put him in the archive somewhere. There's pre-match and there's post-match. So a pre-match file would be everything they needed to prepare for a game of footy, our lineup, opposition lineup, a little piece on every opposition player, the recent form of the opposition, the players who are most likely to be dangerous, and then our game plan, how we wanted to play against them, what the weather conditions would be like. And there's always a little philosophical piece on the back that, I don't know, as a coach, you thought you're charged with improving the minds of these guys, providing them inspiring little things. So that was the pre-match. Then there was post-match, where it went wrong or where it went right, what the statistics were, a comment. I don't think there was any highly critical stuff there, but it was more like encouragement and pointing out where things that they could have done things better. You can see in the first 1 or 2, it's handwritten. I don't know how the guys went about deciphering my handwriting. It just brings back good memories. That people often say, gee, it must have been tough because, we were thrown to the deep end. We didn't have any facilities. The Atco hut now has become legendary. But I never thought of it like that. When I look at the files, I'll scroll through them, and there's guys who didn't play a lot of footy and some guys who didn't play at all but played in trial games, and their file is in there somewhere. You talk about like Mark Visciuto or Mark Bickley, and you can go back and look at their early days. Ben Hart's a classic example. The development of a great player, Mark Bickley, a guy who was never ever on the list. He was always going to be cut from the list, but he just hung in there because he did something that made us as coaches sit up and take notice, and so we just encouraged him. So he was last on the list, and as dual premiership captain, Australian Football Hall of Fame. It's just that's I think that's the most amazing story. The fondest memories are playing the game. Coaching's never fun. I coached a couple of premierships, but that was relief more than any real jubilation. Playing in a premiership was amazing. I didn't realise until I can stop and look back, how significant it was. We were in the middle of a revolution. Those guys who gave their time and their effort and their endeavour, with no real guarantee of contracts those early days. I talk about that all the time. I don't want those guys to ever to be forgotten. I'm so proud to have had a role as any of those inaugural players should be.